Shopkeepers keep a gun under the gutter. I'm spraying water over the streets and nobody anywhere seems to know what to do with it. Nobody to it. We know. Air, food, I'm sick to eat. We know things are bad, worse than bad. I want you to get mad. I want you to progress. I don't want you to ride. I don't want you to write to your Congress members. I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crimes this week. All I know is it's first. You've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. Finally, I got it.
Yo, yo! Be here Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and here at the news with Jason Brentwood. Because when it's time to crush, it's time for Jason. Revolution Radio, Restrooms.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs, government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Now, you can share the topics that drive the discussions of your favorite talk shows with TalkStream Live's topic-driven talk radio. List and promote real-time talk radio topics, or post the topics that you want to hear. Hot topics are tweeted and retweeted, and include simple click-to-listen audio links. The future of talk radio is topic-driven talk radio. Available now at TalkStreamLive.com.
Revolution Radio.
You don't see it, do you? How close we are to absolute chaos? The sick ones are sitting on their fat asses, eating and drink themselves into a stupor, polluting the world without a second thought while it goes down the toilet. Nobody wants to do the nasty work. You know, the shit that we all just think about. Most good citizens are just along for the ride, and they can bitch and moan and complain about everything when it doesn't work out. Not me. Get it?
Revolution Radio, where we do the nasty work. www.freedomslips.com.
The moment you realize you're caught in a dream, the adventure begins. Put your seatbacks and tray tables in the upright position as we take a trip in the very fabric of reality. Join me, Andrew Parsons, for Adventures in Reality, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon at Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps.
Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Be survival from gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus or computer failure took out your bank, or all the banks to that matter. Are your banking records safe in your hands? So when they get things fixed and repaired, you can say, hey, look, this is what I had. You have it. I want it back. Is your personal data safe? Family records, addresses, phone numbers? Squeeze on over to freedomslips.com. Yes, That's www.freedomslips.com. Click the banner on the homepage for the EMP-proof bullet drive. The full scoop of everything that we offer. So, folks, keep your data safe for your peace of mind. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. Revolution Radio. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
And your host is Clay Douglas. My guest today is Stu Webb, and you are listening to this on Revolution Radio. We've got supposedly 10 to 15,000 people tuned in at any one time. But folks, they can't do this, and I can't do this if we don't have some support. Now, you won't hear me on you won't hear me on Republic Radio, you won't hear me on GCN, because they have advertisers. They have Jews that have bought in, that are milking and making money off of the Patriot movement. They've been doing this for years. Buy your food from us. You need that food. You need that food. Nobody offers you any answers. Nobody offers you any result. And they follow a pretty strict set of rules. It's called divide and conquer, the oldest maxim in warfare. It's called warfare by deception. That's the proudly worn as the Mossad's slogan. And of course, the CIA and the Mossad and MI6 are all the same thing. It's the same organization. They're working for the same people. They're working for the Middlemans, the Bushes, the Jacob Schiffs out there, and Jacob Schiff was the New York banker that financed Marx and Lenin. As the one famous Rabbi Weiss said, some people call it communism, I call it Judaism for the masses. And if you read the Talmud, folks, you'll understand that it's probably the most evil book out there. It's not about the God of love. And how far back does that deception go? It may go all the way back to the Old Testament and the Bible, which is, and when Jesus came out and spoke against this, the oldest religion on planet Earth, which is Satanism, they killed him. And of course, the Israelites, they've been photographed on the streets saying, we're glad we killed him. Yeah, we'd do it again, we'd do it again. And of course, they're trying to, because they're trying to kill people like me and Stu that aren't mind controlled, that haven't been programmed by the television that they watch. And, you know, the Alex Joneses out there, the Glenn Beck, oh, he's going to have something that's going to bring everybody down, everything down. It's all going to stop. Of course, this was mainstream TV. And then he got off of mainstream TV so he could be more palatable to the so-called patriots out there. And you've got the up-and-coming Iraqi veterans against the war, Adam Kokesh, who I've spoken joint with, seemed like a nice enough guy in person, but who suddenly quit talking to me when he realized that I might have discovered that he was Jewish and part of the problem. And if you don't think he's part of the problem, folks, if you're following this kind of leader type, you know, because he got arrested at a marijuana protest, because he got arrested dancing in National Monument, you know, he wanted to lead patriots in an armed march into a gun-free zone that would guarantee on a bridge. And you talk to anybody from Gordon Duff, any Marine out there, that any honest, uncontrolled, unbrainwashed soldier, I'll tell you, marching a bridge on a bridge like that is absolutely the worst tactical thing that you could do. If you want to do a million-man march, don't lead them across the bridge. Start in the middle of the way we do with the Vietnam Veterans March. Start in the middle and don't do anything to give them an excuse to shoot you or arrest you or anything else. Just your presence is all you need at these protests. What do you think, Stu? I mean, am I hitting it accurate here?
Yeah, you are, and I want to add some stuff to it. You know,
Okay.
you mentioned Alex Jones. It's just a couple tidbits on some of these clowns. The Zionist pigs is what they are. But Alex Jones' father-in-law, for everybody's edification, you can go look it up. It's up there in Google. It's on the internet. His father-in-law worked for the State Department. His father-in-law was ripping the government off on the billing of expenses, and he had to reimburse the government. Of course, he got a small fine out of it and a little probation, and he didn't go to jail. Now, if you or I ripped the government off, we'd be in prison. Second tidbit is that if you go to Salon Magazine and look at Greenwald's article, who just broke the story, of course, Greenwald being a good guy, in my opinion, and a lawyer, and with the Guardian. But if you look at his Salon Magazine article on Alex Jones on how much he makes a year, this guy is estimated to be making between $8 and $10 million a year, 8 to 10 million. But he gets on the radio and he begs his diaper listeners are still in diapers because, you know, Daddy changed my diaper. Well, I come from the school of not Daddy changed diapers, but, you know, many people, even spook friends of mine, CIA, call me the doctor because they say, Stu, your library card expired, as Daddy Bush says, and you have a PhD from the Bush Crime Syndicate University, and so therefore you know too much. Well, I'm not interested in trying to change people's diapers and keep them in diapers with spin doctor stuff. I just tell it how it is. But Jones collects about $800,000 to $1 million a year from his supporters and donations. Think of that money being pumped to you, to me, to others, to barely get a few $100 if we're lucky a month, a few hundred. I think I've had because a couple of people have asked for money because I'm having to move from where I'm at because of the problem child, FBI problem child next door, who moved in about a year and a half ago, causing chaos to try to have me arrested. And that's not going to happen. And I've got a restraining order on her now. She's being serviced, hopefully this morning, spraying more bug spray into my garage that I use for my office, that I'm sitting out on the other side of the house because I can't be there. But, you know, I've asked for donations. I thank those that have helped me. I think I've gotten a little over $300. I could use right now about $1,000, desperately needed. I know you, Clayton, could use money. But if those that give $800,000 to $1 million in a money bomb to the stooges that are giving them false information, I'm asking myself, where are the brains of the people? You know, Gordon Duff, I think, I respect him highly, good friend. You know, he wrote a story about too dumb to live, being so dumb that that's the problem with the people in this country.
I'm sorry here, Stu. I can't have you talking about the folks in the chat room that I'm not on right now.
Are they that dumb?
Anybody that's calling me a racist, anybody that's calling me anti-Semite, anybody that is accusing me of putting down the Jews.
Let me explain that. That's the favorite card that they always try to use. You know, they try to call me that. Here I've got a daughter that's part Jewish by her mother, and she's a part Khazarian, obviously, by her grandfather. But the grandmother was a true Jew. Now, let's explain and define the Jewish race, because of the genome that was written about, and it is on Veterans Today. Once again, governmental website, Veterans Today. And here I'm a columnist, and I don't work for the government. And there's a couple other people that are columnists that don't work for the government. But, you know, Gordon Duff to tell you he works for the government, and that's the reason he's running Veterans Today. They're trying to pump out to the American people the truth on really what's going on. Now, in the genome, if you go to Veterans Today and you put in the search box, the genome, it was done back in January, I believe the story was done. There's going to be another story, and this is by a true Israelite professor working at a university back east. I can't remember the guy's name right offhand, and I can't get into my office right now. It's still full of bug spray, cockroach spray. So I can't give you his name, but this professor, as I said, if you go to Veterans Day and punch in the search box and put in genome, he wrote a massive, or he did a 5-year investigation of, and took blood samples of those that claim to be Jews. They lump this word Jew as an overall bigger picture on their Zionist game against Christians and against the Israelites. And Jews are not Israelites. That is a fictitious word that has been developed for a century. The Israelites, the true tribes of Israel, those 12 tribes of Israel, they have found out in this genome investigation / 5-year university professor, not racist at all himself because he's of the tribes of Israel, want to know where the people are on the planet that are part of the tribes of Israel. He found out that 9 out of 10 of them living in Israel today are not of the true tribes of Israel. They claim to be Jews, but are not. Most of them are Khazarians, Russians from the southern part of Russia that migrated there since 1947. He also found out that 8 out of the 10 Palestinians who these fake Jews are constantly murdering in the masses are the true tribes of Israel. I will repeat that. 9 out of the 10 that claim to be Jews in Israel today are not of the true tribes of Israel. 8 out of 10 of the Palestinians are from the true tribes of Israel. There is more coming on Veterans Today regarding this. They did 2, I think it was actually 2 masterpieces on this, and there's going to be more about the Mormon Church and others that claim that they have the Israeli bloodline, when in fact they don't. Now, to define that. Now, the second part is why did, we know there was a Holocaust. There was, the Russians killed more Gentiles than they did Jews, so-called Jews, Israelis, and so forth. There's tons of stories out there to debate on this. But what they've done, and this comes back to A. Fox, the drug dealer, the Iran-Contra paymaster to Michael Harari and those names. You're familiar with that.
Oh, yeah, I've exposed Michael Harari. Go ahead. Keep going, though.
Yeah. Okay. The ADL, AIPAC, the Israeli-American Pact, which my ex-in-laws are on that board of director, Leonard Millman, and his 2 stooges, Larry Mizell, one of the Illuminati bankers, that'd be at the sacrifice. He's on that director. Their attorney, which is Daddy Bush's attorney, Norman Brownstein, is also a director of that. They're directors of the ADL, including Phil Wynn of Denver and other stooges for Millman. But they're controlling the ADL, they're controlling AIPAC, they're controlling the Jewish Defense League, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and what they call the Cell in Denver. The Cell, C-E-L-L, run by Larry Mizell. It's all espionage against the United States of America. Espionage at its highest order. Now, in a 16 intelligence agency report back in 2004, it identified my ex-in-law, Leonard Millman, as committing treason, espionage, and theft of U.S. Treasury funds. He faked his death. He went and hid in Cuba, where he lives today, where Mitt Romney, during his presidential election, delivered with his girlfriend, his mistress, holding her hand, getting off an airplane, having sex with her, that they have, U.S. intelligence has him on video, and delivering bank accounts from the Afghan war machine that John McCain, who's a stooge for him, Senator McCain, that sends Armed Services Committee, that potentially keeps the wars in Afghanistan alive, so he gets his cut of the drug money, the opium. And Mitt Romney launders it. And Mitt Romney, during the time he was running for president, had $3.2 trillion of that opium money in bank capital accounts, delivered those accounts to Leonard Millman, laundered it for him in Cuba, and he was sick. Now, these people, Millman had to go hide because of this intelligence agency report. Now, there's a recent one that came out last year. There's been one, I think 4 different ones where they've identified him since 2004. And I'm not privy to look at this. I've been told by various people about what the last report read from top-level people that are able to see that report. Leonard Millman is mentioned. Larry Mizell is mentioned. Greenberg, Fox News, that owns Fox News. Rupert Murdoch, Greenberg is his last name. He's mentioned in it. Teddy Bush is mentioned in it. Neil Bush is mentioned. George W. Bush is mentioned. Marvin Bush is mentioned. Jeb Bush is mentioned. All the Bush crowd, along with Millman, Mizell, and others, in committing the following. Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, committing the following. It says in that report that they have robbed and looted America, that they have created $100 trillion worth of artificial mortgages, that they, at the time, said in the report that they derivatized those mortgages illegally with the following banks, they named them up, et cetera, to the tune of 1,500 trillion. That's $1.52 trillion. They were involved in the attack on America on the Oklahoma City building to destroy records and other things, create a false flag. They did the 911 event as a false flag, and that they were involved and have been involved directly in the Jonathan Pollard spy ring involving nuclear secrets, nuclear codes, and others, and that they have been stealing nuclear material from America, and I know about that one, and that was Rocky Flats, 2,000 pounds missing, and that it was transferred to Israel and sold by Michael Harari, General Raphael Attan, Bibi Netanyahu, and that whole gang over there in Israel, Anzar Ben-Shri, one of the 13 council members, and that they took that material and sold it throughout the world, including to North Korea, and made it to where North Korea today has nuclear capability and did shoot off a nuke when they hit it down in South Africa, someplace tested their little mini nuke. Now, they've done all these things, and they're aware of it, quite aware. The U.S. intelligence is. And that's the reason right now they're on the radar scope. They've said enough is enough, that we've got to do something about this. And that's the reason civil war broke out in this country. And I can't tell you and give you details, but I am telling you, you are going to see things repeatedly. We've seen the supposedly spying on us. We've all known about that since 2001. But that came out. And then you go further and you look at Pete Bachman, I call her, Michelle B-I-T-C, leave it up to rest, Bachman, treason. She was told you either resign or go to prison. She resigned, agreed to it. Another congressperson resigned 3-4 days ago, made the announcement. Same thing's going on. They can't go in and arrest everybody at once. It would collapse the government. So they're going to slowly, should we say, things are going to happen. Now, you've heard about the new revelations about Hillary Clinton running prostitution rings inside the State Department, and other things are being coming out about it. You see the spin doctor, to where all of a sudden Piers Morgan on CNN, spin doctor, comes out and talks, hello, Hillary running for president, Hillary running for president. No, Hillary's not going to run for president at all. It's all the spin to get the heat off of the stories that have developed about prostitution rings in Benghazi and the false flags attack that was October surprise to out Barack Obama, and she was involved with it. Other things will be coming up that I'm not going to discuss. But you're going to see scandal after scandal after scandal to wake up too dumb to live people in America. Those that sit around and watch TV think that they're getting the truth. Don't come to the alternative press like you and me, as an example. Those are the ones that are being woken up at the current time, Clayton. And it will continue, and it will continue, and it will continue. And then to see the American people, those that claim to be patriotic out here on the internet, I'm getting to the point that I won't even go on Facebook except for just to post my post to my Facebook page after I post it on my website. Because the people out here, I'm looking at things, and it isn't that I'm calling the American people dumb. It's they've been dumbed down by this press. And it's been since 1992, when they bought out the press, when the New World Order, this Council of 13 Illuminati, they're going to be doing their big event in Denver. When they bought the press in 92, it was over with. That's when everything changed, and few guys like yourself out there had your shows in the early 90s telling the truth. They brought in the spin doctors like Alex Jones to put him on the air and others to do spin in the alternative that was coming up. And that's what's happened with this country. Now, I might add something. You brought up Glenn Beck. That piece of garbage, if I saw him, I would go temporarily insane. I might set his head down in his lap as the last 120 seconds of blood drips out of it as I pick up his legs or his shoulders and pee down his windpipe so he can watch me doing it and cuffs me as he's going to hell. But that filth, where he made his mistake with Fox News, was that he made one comment about the Federal Reserve was illegal, which he was correct. They immediately cut his show, and he crawled a couple months later. He crawled all the way underneath on the over to Israel from America on the bottom of the ocean, on his hands and knees, to go beg Bibi Netanyahu for forgiveness and the Israelis, which Milton controls the Israelis, and Larry myself. And he crawled all the way to Bibi, their little stooge, to beg for forgiveness in exchange after promising that he would never make that mistake again.
Now, who was that? Who was that went over there? Who?
Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck.
Okay.
That was the reason he lost his program on Fox News, was because he said something about the Federal Reserve was illegal. And as soon as he did, he was cut. And then he begged on his hands and knees, crawled all the way across the bottom of the ocean, on the bottom of the ocean, all the way to Israel, to beg for forgiveness. And he got a radio show.
Yeah, and he's
He's a filth. Every one of them are pieces of filth. They're committing treason and sedition on a daily basis by putting out false disinformation. You hear half-truths, which is mainstream garbage, and then you hear the spin Dr. Gates. They get their direct, Alex Jones, Glenn Beck, Kodesh, and others get their direct messages out of a combination of DEFCA and the Department of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano and her group, which she does not answer to the President of the United States. She answers to Daddy Bush, just like Hillary Clinton. When she was in the State Department, when she was removed, just like Bachmann was, you get out or you're going to jail. She immediately got out. That's the truth behind why she's no longer Secretary of State.
Now, you know, I tell you, just speaking about Alex Jones, Goebbels, Hitler's Goebbels, he made a comment that good propaganda is 90% truth. And with Alex Jones, he gives you 90% truth. He leaves out the 10% he leaves out is where the problem is. He won't point the finger at this. Now, you know, Aaron Russo was Jewish, and he tried to do something really, really good. He tried to tell people what about the chip.
Yes.
He did so many things good, and I put him on the cover of my Free American magazine when he was running for governor of when he was running for governor of Nevada. I put him on the cover,
yes.
And I promoted From Freedom to Fascism. He did a good job on telling the truth about that. But, hey, you know, Adam Kokesh, Alex Jones hiding behind his Jewish wife and dual citizen children, his cover, and Dianne Feinstein, and Charlie Schumer, and all of these criminals in our Congress and that happen to be Jewish. The lady next door to me might be Jewish, and she don't do anything. She ain't part of the New World Order. They don't care. They don't, I don't care about them. I had one guy come into the Free American here, and this is the story that Leonard Horowitz transformed in the elevator to me. Leonard Horowitz got upset because I ran an article, and the only thing I did was come up with the title of it. Do Jews run the world, and is it hate to ask that question? Len called me up and said, why did you do that? Why did you do that without checking with me first? I said, when have I ever checked with anybody before I ran an article? And he said, well, you know, at any rate, then later on at the conspiracy con, he attacked me over that and transformed into something else in the elevator. I felt like I was in a scene from American Werewolf in Paris. It was so dramatic. But the point is, you know, the Constitution protects you however you want to worship. If you want to hug trees, I got a pair of tweezers here. If you wanna beat your head against that wailing wall, knock yourself out. Don't expect me to do the same thing. If you want to get on your hands and knees, stick your nose in the dirt and your ass up in the air, I'll try to shoo the Saint Bernard away from you. And if you want to get on your hands and knees and pray for a Cadillac, you know, I'll put in a good word with God so he don't drop it on top of your fat ass. But you know, that's it, man. You can do whatever you want. If you'd rather take Valium than smoke pot, you know, just know that the odds are you can die from that a lot easier. You know, 50 people a year die from taking aspirin, and nobody ever dies from smoking pot. Now, I'm telling you the truth. Oh, but you can't be with Clay. You can't, if your Christian identity, and the reason I did my book, Mystery Babylon, was when when Homeland Security started attacking Christian identity, trying to put them down with the militia. You know, what part of the Second Amendment don't you understand, you freak?
And of course, that was the Southern Poverty Law Center fighting with that Homeland Security doing that.
Of course, they get all their information.
Espionage boys.
And by the way, the Southern, go ahead.
You know, Adam Kokesh, I have an article, and I'm not able to get it on my computer right now because I'm so full of bug spray in my garage from Psychopath, nutcase next door, until I can get it aired out. But I'm outside here. But the point is that Adam Kokesh, I put an article on my website in Breaking News, and it's called Adam Kokesh's father. It says, and that's the title, it's something to do with that, Adam Kokesh's father. Well, take a look at that. Because the guy is being, chased by the SEC right now. The only case in New Mexico of securities fraud, running, I believe it was a mutual fund, and he ripped off, I don't know how many million from people in his fund. He's been repoed his house. He's claiming he doesn't have any money. They've been trying to remove him from the house. He was recently arrested on other charges, but take a look at I think it was called Adam Kokesh, something Kokesh, Adam Kokesh's father, like son. Just remember, folks, what we're dealing with and the filth that we're dealing with, and get your head, and I think I add to what you were saying, get your head out of your rear end and quit listening to the alternative stooges just because they sound good to you. Start going out for yourself and judging. I mean, what you're hearing from those stooges, you're now hearing basically the same thing now on mainstream media trying to cover up as well. Because you're going to see scandal after scandal after scandal that's all been already done, all of the past continue to be broken, and it will be covered by mainstream media, even though they will go out there and spin it. Now, if you've noticed about this spying thing, how many people came out, Daddy Bush's boys that ran Junior, and Junior administration boys that were Daddy Bush's boys, How many of them have come out defending, oh, Guantanamo Bay, we got to keep it open. Oh, we have terrorists. The only reason they want Guantanamo Bay, Cuba open is because John McCain wants it open, because they run the rendition flights, supposedly, where the CIA has their contractor flying to Afghanistan to bring the opium back to America and to Cuba, claiming they're flying prisoners around, terrorists. They aren't doing any such thing. They're flying the chemicals they need to compound this stuff over there in Afghanistan and then bring the tonnage of opium back to this country and to other countries around the world. That's part of it. We have to look between the lines. We need to see them down support the rebels. Their latest is, leaks out of the White House, we're going to support the rebels in Syria. No, the rebels in Syria that have been supported have been Halliburton and Daddy Bush's private contractors that were once and are being disposed of. DOD, Department of Defense contractors, where they infiltrated our government so heavy, and they're over there creating wars in the whole Middle East and trying to use our taxpayers' money, which is coming to a stop and halt. And Hillary was all behind us in getting that war in Syria going. And Israel, if you look at John McCain going over there 2 weeks ago and meeting with top al-Qaeda leaders, terrorists against America, a U.S. senator committing espionage, treason, sedition, supporting al-Qaeda terrorists. Well, who is al-Qaeda? It's Daddy Bush's boys, and it's Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel's boys. The New World Order. It's a stooge game that is being portrayed on the American people, and they're doing their damnedest to drag us into a war with Israel in Syria and Iran. Syria does not want, and they were just fine. They weren't creating terrorism. They weren't doing a problem until Hillary Clinton got Halliburton boys over in Syria. And one of them, by the way, if you recall, a ex-U.S. military, was charged with espionage and treason and sedition by supporting the so-called rebels, which is all part of this al-Qaeda stooge game going on countries.
And you've got John McCain.
Iran doesn't want a problem with us. Iran would buy 10,000 Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge pickup trucks a month from America if we would open up those doors. They have agreed to sell us oil at $20 a barrel below OPEC Daddy Bush's set price. And that would drop the gas at the pump by $1.50 a gallon plus if America would open up trade with Iran.
Well,
Iran
Stu,
doesn't want war.
No, and neither did Iraq. We didn't have 10 million Iraqis on our borders trying to invade America, but we certainly had a bunch of Catholics down there that wanted to come up to get free food, free clothing, free this, free that, free housing. Certainly got that, and now we got the whole amnesty plan going before Congress. But let's take I saw that you were going to be on a show here on Revolution Radio with Hans, and I see that Hans is called into me. I referred to Hans as, can't we all just get along, Hans? And so you are now live with Stu. You think, and maybe you agree with Heisenberg that we're just preaching hate here. No, we are, and for you, Red, we are preaching solutions, and let me tell you what I think of our solutions should be. And this is by a Marine, and then I'll get to you, Hans. So just be patient here for a second here. Just be patient here. This is Sergeant Raymond Turner, Gunnery Sergeant Raymond Turner. He said, if I were Stalin of America, most of our government and media would be shot for treason or sent off to a FEMA camp or put to work on the infrastructure projects. AIPAC and the Rothschild Federal Reserve would be no more. The debt would be erased overnight. Lobbies and all political donations outlawed. Mossad agents in America would be shot on sight, and if Israel didn't like it, some of our 81 nuclear attack subs and 11 carriers would finally be put to good use. John Hagee would simply be put on a starvation diet. Pam Geller sent to a cubicage in Saudi Arabia. Alan Dershowitz and Joe Lieberman parachuted into Afghanistan wearing IDF officers' uniforms and Mossad ID. George Bush and Donald Rumsfeld taken to Nevada and tied feet first to wild stallions. Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, and Alex Jones cast adrift on a life raft in the western Atlantic at 20 degrees north in the middle of hurricane season. The entire lot of neocons involved in 9/11 would be loaded onto a remote-controlled jet with just enough fuel to make it 500 miles off the east coast at 30,000 feet. These are only a few of the just ends for the traitorous agents of Israel. This country would be cleaned up in short order. Sergeant Raymond Turner, what do you think about that, Hans? Or do you think we should just get along with these murderous bastards? What do you think, Hans?
Hey, thank you, Clay, for having me. Good morning, Stu. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
I'm good, Hans, and I plan on having a good evening with you for a couple hours.
We're definitely going to have... I got lots of questions for you, Stu, and I don't think we have enough time to start asking you now. So I'm happy to see you, or happy to have you on my show this evening. Clay, I don't disagree with you at all. I think we have a problem. But,
okay, thank you very much. You were a good producer. I enjoyed working with you, sir.
And I enjoyed having you. I like you as a person, and we agree on something. And of course, we disagree on something.
Of course.
There's not one person in this world that we totally agree with, and we should. And we should. But we have, our country is going to hell, and there's no saving left.
Well, Hans, it's okay to disagree, but we don't have to disagree to the point that we do exactly what they want us to do with divide and conquer. I mean, keep in mind, I ride a Harley, and I see you sitting on that Honda, but, I'm not going to hold that against you, and I'm a Texan, but that don't mean I hate anybody from New Mexico or Louisiana or Oklahoma, unless, of course, they refer to us as Baja, Oklahoma. Then we got to fight, okay?
Of course. Clay, and I agree with you. What I'm saying, the only thing I'm trying to get across to people is that hate is not going to get us anywhere. We know we have a problem. We have to all pull together, and the only way we're going to do this is not by weapons. We have to fight as united. I've lived out in the.
Hold on a second, Hans. I've lived out in New Mexico. I've lived in the country. I've been back there around the mines, and I've been up on White Sands Missile Range and saw the Jewish American project called an airborne laser that they used to knock down one of those space shuttles. But I don't hate a rattlesnake, but I'll kill them in a heartbeat. Skin them and use them for a hat band. Go ahead, Hans.
Let's get off into this subject, because I think we all have questions for Stu. And let's continue. I'd like to listen in for the rest of the show.
Go ahead. You got a question for Stu?
Hello?
You got a question for Stu? Go ahead and ask him.
No, I'm going to reserve my questions for this evening, Clay. But as I said, I'd like to listen in for the rest of the show. And if you go ahead, Stu, I can't wait for all the answers or the knowledge you have.
Well, I look forward to the show too, and I want to back up Clayton in something for the edification of everybody. I don't hate any race of people, and I'm like Clayton. If you want to put your head in the sand, go ahead and do it. If you want to go smoke your pot, do it. If you want to take your Valiums, do it. If you want to snort your cocaine, do it. Whatever you want to do, it's your right to do. You want to kill yourself, go ahead and do it.
Exactly.
I don't care. The Constitution says, and it comes back to the Constitution, it says you can do anything as long as you don't harm another or steal, and then you're going to be punished. And it comes back to the basics of what the Bible, and my belief is, the Ten Commandments. Saying, don't kill, don't do this, don't do that, all the way through.
Exactly. And
I don't hate anybody, but we have a problem in this country.
which is a bunch of fake Jewish people who are not Jewish, who have actually fooled the true tribes of Israel and have fooled the Christians in America into believing that they are Jews, when in fact they aren't. And this is where a lot of people do not understand this. I put up a piece on my site. Go hunt it up in the search box. It says Christian, and it's if you go to archives, the top bar of my site, American Christians duped by political Zionism, because these are the ones that have destroyed our country. They've destroyed the economies of the world. Those that we refer to, I do, as Zionists, are these Council of 13 devil worshippers. They're the ones that push the Zionism. They're the ones that push Israel, claiming it's the Jewish people. The Jewish people. It isn't the Jewish people. And it comes back to what the Bible says about the true tribes of Israel, not the fake ones that have hijacked the Israeli identity and fooled the Christians and fooled the Jewish or the Israelis and have fooled every other religion and race, creed, and color in the world. And the ones that we're all fighting against, it's evil. And it's these ones that are calling themselves Zionists. This Council of 13 that are controlling 90 to 97% of the wealth of the world now. They've stolen everything. In 81, they only controlled 20% of the U.S. economy. Today, they're in control, according to the General Accounting Office last June, they were in control of 95% of the economy. And 400 men, the stooges in the food chain that are underneath the council, that run in these major corporations for them and so forth, it identified that 400 men make more money than half the entire population of the United States of America, which we have 320,000 people, 320 million people. They're making more money, 400 men do, than the lower half of the population of America each year. That's the problem that we have, and it needs to be taken back. They need to be arrested, shut down. The murderers, the thieves, they're liars. They're on a new world order agenda. And their agenda is, some don't like this word, it's Antichrist agenda. The Bible's full of the word that this day would come if we allowed it to happen. And we as humans don't have to allow it to happen. Prayer works very well in stopping things, but sometimes it comes to physical force, because that's all they know is brute force. They use it against us. So therefore, it's come to a point we're going to have to use brute force possibly against them. And this is just one of these things. They all need to be picked up and arrested, make citizens arrested upon them all. And, you know, I started a new website. It's called, and to help with Glenn Candy and Geopolitical.com. It's got self-explanation how to remove these congressmen and senators out of there, take their name out, put in NDAA Act, put in Patriot Act. What have they signed that violated their oath of office? If the American people would start doing that, we'd start cleaning out the Congress and Senate, which these Zionists, which is the AIPAC, the JDL, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and the ADL are in control of. And it's bizarre that we got, you know, the same ones, Rupert Murdoch, the Israeli Mossad, I call it, the Zionist propaganda that comes on Fox News, owning 99% of the written press in America. It feeding us garbage. That's the problem we have. That's the reason people are so dumbed down. They can't think for themselves. They've been programmed for 20, 30 years with this garbage. And we've had all these preachers such as John Hagee and Pat Robertson that were taking airplanes, private jets, and huge blocks of money from these people back in the 1950s to promote this, oh, we must support Israel, the Judeo-Christian faith, the Judeo-Christian faith. Well, yeah, that's true. But who are these so-called Judea? Palestinians. 8 out of 10 of them are the true tribes of Israel. And everybody's duped by this. Oh, we got to support Israel because the Bible says so. We got to support Israel. No. We support the true tribes. Who's the true tribes? The ones that are being slaughtered just like we're being slaughtered.
We are the new Palestinians. What they're trying to do in America right now to make us all into enemies of the Homeland Security. Homeland Security is just the KGB revitalized and remade for America. Yeah, of course, so is the European Union. You know, that's a Soviet model too.
And how did that come about? It came about by these same Zionists attacking America in a false flag, 911.
That's right.
To get a final control over us.
That's right. And I referred to 9/11 as an exaggerated case of Jewish lightning, and they tried to kill me over that. And it was, by the way, now it's coming out on mainstream that Varian and all these other companies are tapping our phones. National Security's tapping our phones. Well, I told you that back in 2004. I told you they tapped my phone. They knew where I was going to be. They had somebody waiting for me. And they kept me in the hospital, drugged for 3 months. I got no memory of 3 months in the hospital for 3 broken ribs. So
I know the scene, 3 car crashes, and I'm still in pain consistently, and 3 concussions. I didn't know whether my brain would ever come back. All in a year and a half. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. Okay, Hans, you can drop off and listen to us on the air. Don't we might take one more call. I might have enough time to take one more call. But
Okay,
I look forward to the show tonight with you, Hans. We're going to have some fun.
Thank you, Stu, and I'll be looking forward. Thank you, Clay, for having me on. I'll talk to you later.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks for calling. And again, the number is 646 200 4444. Is that right, Richard?
I believe so. Let me take an extra look here. Yeah, it's 347-688-2902.
Okay, I got a different number up there. But all right, all right. You know, somebody's asking. And I get asked this a lot, you know, what are the answers here? What are the answers? If we did what Iceland did, if your media wasn't controlled by these Zionists, if your news wasn't controlled by these Zionists, painting the Palestinians as rebels, painting the people here, concerned Americans, as terrorists, the militia, they wanted you to believe the militia was somehow a terrorist organization. It wasn't. We did it in the governor's office. The governor ran for president, but they didn't tell you about that either. Gary Johnson should have been president. He would have legalized marijuana in this country if he had been president. And Stu, I mean, I've told people, look, tear down this wall, man. Tear down this wall between us and Mexico. Set up tables. Let them bring everything they want. Abolish the laws against victimless crimes. That was the solution 45 years ago, when I wrote my first novels, but it's still the answer today. If I quit doing cocaine there in Miami, I quit doing cocaine when I learned the CIA was making all the money off of it. And all we need to do is take it away. They stole our #1 cash crop. You can see it being revived in Colorado now. When in Colorado they abolished the laws against marijuana there. They need to abolish all laws against victims' crimes in every state. That's the answer. The other answer that you got, folks, I came up with is called Liberty Village. And Liberty Village is simply people working together. One neighborhood could become a Liberty Village if you dug up the crabgrass in the backyard, planted vegetables. If you put solar and wind on your roof, and a magnetic generator in your garage, and told the power company to kiss your ass. we would have some answers. We had the answers 100 years ago with Tesla, and they killed him too. Go ahead, Stu. What do you think?
Real quick, the key is right now there is civil war broke out in America. We have good people inside the military. The military will not round up the American people. They will not shoot the American people, which all this Budster stuff is floated out there through disinformation. The military is trying to clean it up. There has been a tribunal. I will leave it as that. General Dempsey and Secretary Hagel are in charge. Barack Obama has said this on a TV announcement out of the White House. It's on my U.S. News, breaking news site. It's up there. It's in the column. Go down and read between the lines. Look towards the bottom of that column for U.S. dictatorship and free fall. That's a story that will explain most everything going on. But our good guys inside, not only military and intelligence, need the American people. They need the American people to stand up to the plate and start doing recall on these congressmen and senators. There is recallpetitions.com. Everything's out there. $4,000 attorney boilerplate, already done for you. All you got to do is remove the name of the senator or congressman, put the name in there, and simply state what they did to violate their oath of office, whether it was gun legislation, Patriot Act, NDAA Act, whatever it was. Put it in there. Take it down and file it with your Secretary of State's office and get a copy of all true registered voters in that district, so you can verify as you get signatures and you aren't turning in false signatures. And Occupy should be doing this, and we would clean out the U.S. Congress and Senate of all this filth, and you could clean out your local state congressmen and senators, and everything, including the video, is on recall petitions on how you do it.
Now
that's where everybody needs to put their energy right now. Help clean the country up.
Yes, and don't let this. Don't
let
this.
Out there shooting at them one day, and it's Homeland Security that will be acting as these little Nazis. That's the reason they've militarized Homeland Security, because they're answering to Daddy Bush and the Zionist pigs.
That's right. They're doing the same thing to America that they're doing in Syria right now. And we'll see how the elections go in Iran. The president is retiring because they have term limits there. You can't make a career out of politics in Iran. And folks, the whole story is up on freeamerican.com right now under the Gordon Duff Show, under this show. This article about U.S. dictatorship and free fall is happening right now. All right, we're out of time here. God bless you all. Check out freeamerican.com. Make a donation. Get a book. Get a book. Get a film. True Face of FEMA is there. True Face of FEMA will show you exactly what they got planned. In case of a single outbreak of smallpox in a major metropolitan area, we'll need 400,000 well-armed, well-trained, organized troops to control the American people. They are talking about you being the enemy. Stu Webb, thank you for being on me. Pass the show around. It's up on my website. Just copy it and send it out to everybody on your email list. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much for having me. You have a good day.
We're off here,
right,
guys.
You too. All right.
Good show, guys.
Thank you.
A good show. People in the chat room were liking it. So.
Are we off of Blog Talk too?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Send out that.
Okay. Will this be? I'll hook the link up on my site. Where's it at? Free American or where's it?
Freeamerican.com. You're right at the top of the. You're right at the top of the page. Or if you right click, you've got the link to this show on Blog Talk for the full 2 hours.
Okay.
Within 1 hour, I will have this all up on YouTube also, and I'll send you the links on Skype here.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds
All right,
good. And we'll do it again. I always have fun with you, Clayton.
All right, I enjoy it too, bud. See ya, and
Okay, I'll talk to you.
have a good time with Hans. He's really a nice guy. You know, he just reminds me of Rodney King.
I'll be easy on him. How's that?
Yeah, can't we all just get along? Good luck.
I'll be easy on him.